So this will be a quick unboxing and first impression video for the Galaxy Z Fold 7. I have here the Galaxy Z Fold 7 still in the box. This is the 1 terabyte version with the 16 gigs of RAM. It is the jet black color that I selected. As you can see, not much around the box. Of course, it tells you the model number and everything there. That's your standard Samsung information. This is supposedly a lot thinner. I'm going to check these things out. I currently have the Z Fold 6, so I'm upgrading to the Z Fold 7. Some things that reason why I'm doing this is like I said, one reason it says a lot more thinner, a lot lighter, but more importantly, the outer screen has been greatly improved. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Now it has a 6.5 outer screen, an 8-inch inner screen, which is a bigger improvement than what I have on my Z Fold 6, which is, I think, is at 6.3 for the outer screen, and then 7.6 for the internal screen. The thinness is what I'm really looking to see, how thin it is. Also, there's been a couple of camera improvements. Apparently, these have a lot of the ultra cameras, triple rear, 200 megapixel camera, 12, and then a 10 megapixel, as opposed to the Z Fold 6, which only had a 50 megapixel, a 12, and a 10 megapixel. So I'm looking hype to see that. The battery is still the same, unfortunately, at 4,400 milliamps. But hopefully, this has the Snapdragon 8 Elite in it, so hopefully battery life will be still either the same or improved. Some say slightly improved, so we'll see. These come in the Z Fold 7s come in the 256, 512, and 1 terabyte. The thing to note that I noted when I was making my selection is that the 256 and the 512 are at 12 gigabytes RAM, have 12 gigabytes of RAM in them, while the 1 terabyte version has the 16 gigs of RAM. So that's something to compare, keep in mind. One reason why I went with the 1 terabyte version. I think that 12 should be sufficient. 12 gigs of RAM should be sufficient for most things, and probably already sufficient for AI. But I just bought I wanted to go with 16 gigs to future-proof, just to make sure. I plan on keeping this, as always, 2 years. I'm sorry. I plan on keeping this for the full 2 years. I had some situations that made me cause me to buy the Z Fold 6. I had the Google Pixel before I got the Z Fold 6. It was an okay foldable, but the Pixel Fold started exhibiting problems. The biggest issue I had with it was the overheating. It would get hot, as well as then I'll randomly reboot. So I only had it for a year before I decided to just go ahead and go back to Samsung and get the Z Fold 6. So I've had the Z Fold 6 now for a year. I really didn't want to get, like I said, I was kind of forced to go ahead and get it. I didn't feel like going through the whole hassle with Google, with trying to get another device and everything else. Like I said, my first impressions of it was probably that for what I use it for, which is basically, I'm just a functional user. I use it a lot every day and just doing a lot of multitasking. And I just don't think that for that Google Pixel that I had, the processor was up to the task. So that's why I moved on to the Z Fold 6. I currently have the Z Fold 6. The Z Fold 6 black. Just as also the jet black version edition. So I currently have that. As you can see here, like I said, I got that one. It's a 512, 12 gigabyte as well. So Like I said, now that I got the Z Fold 7, I'm looking forward to being able to hold on to this one and just get back to my regular rotation of upgrading once every 2 years as opposed to every. I'm not an every year updater. Like I said, it's just a special circumstance after dealing with that Google Pixel Fold that I had. Like I said, I was not too impressed with it after I got it. Just wanted to try something different. But like I said, I ended up coming back to Samsung anyway, so that's neither here nor there. Other things about this, going back to this, still saying 25 watt fast charging. The IP ratings are still the same for both the Z Fold 6 and 7, IP48. That's just dust and water resistance. And then they say it's a slightly different change in decrease. They did get under, I'll be showing later on that they did remove the under display camera that was on the internal screen for a better 10 megapixel cutout camera, so that's a different change. And the next biggest thing that I think is really impressive is that they found that this one, the Z Fold 7, is the first one foldable to launch with the Android 16 One UI 8 right out of the box. We had to, when we got the Z Fold 6, it was with the 15 UI 7, but we had to wait for the, that was due to updates, that we didn't have the everything then. So we had to wait for an update for this. This one's coming right out of the box with that Android 16 One UI 8. So we'll see how that goes. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to opening this up and see what we got inside here. Again, this is the standard box. Of course, no battery charger, only the cable inside. So let's go with the first rip. Okay. Second rip. Okay. Here we go. All right. This is the jet black version. Okay. Got a little sticker there. We got to clear off. Straightforward. If you're new, let's check out this side before we go to the device. Okay, standard Samsung pamphlet. And inside this, of course, charging cable and all your booklets and stuff. The standard Samsung booklets. Is there anything else? No. Well, let me see something here. There's a SIM injection tube right there. Okay, that's what I was looking for. So you got that. I'm gonna pull that out, put it right back. I have everything to do my changes. To swap my SIM cards and stuff. So I already have one. So since I'm pulling this one out, put this back. Keep this back in the box. Okay. Close this up, put it back. Nothing there. More about nothing. Rip anything. Okay. All right. Now on to put this to the side. Onto the main event. There she is. Let's lift this up and see how thin it is. A little tab right here. Whoa. This is thin. That's thin. Now that is thin. Oop, don't drop it there. Take it around. Of course, uh, SIM port. It looks to be like another speaker. Microphones on the side. On this side, nothing but the antennas, slots. On this side, got your volume up and down button, power button. On the bottom, look at that. You have your USB port and then another speaker. Leave another mic. But look how thin that is. That is crazy. Let me now, my Z Fold 6 still has case on it, so, but you guys gotta look at, see how different, just see how small this is. How thin this is compared to my Z Fold 6. So, let me see something here. Put them on like this. Let me see if I can come out a little bit. That'll work. Wow. Let's see something here. Let's take a look at the front. There's a comparison. Like I said, unfortunately, this still have my Z Fold 6 still has a case on it, so it might look a little bunkier, but you can already see that the inner screen is definitely bigger on the Z Fold 7 compared to my Z Fold 6. Okay, let's see what else can we. So let me do some things. 1 second. Okay. Let's start off with the inner screen. Let's go with the first pull on the inner screen. How about that? Let me put this out of the way. Let me come in just a little bit so you guys can see the full effect of how beautiful this is. Okay. Okay. Let's go with the first pull of the outer screen, inner screen. Whoa. Oh, that's nice. Okay, let's flip it over for the outer screen. Let me put this aside right here. Outer screen. There's the outer screen. Now I got to get this little label off of here. Excuse me 1 second. Let me get this little label off of here. There we go. And there it is. Got the little sticker off of there. Wow. And you can noticeably see how less the crease is compared to the Z Fold 6. You can noticeably see that the reduced crease in it. I mean, you can hardly even see this. Now, maybe that might change after I go to my first fold, but coming around the box, you can definitely see it's noticeably different. Look at that. That is impressive, Samsung. This is impressive. See how much it weighs. First, you know what? Let me do the first fold. Let's get that out. Let's get the first fold out of the way, because I really want to see how thick it is with this folded. Here's the first fold. Oh, and there's the outer screen. Way much wider definitely worth it. Look how thin that is. You guys a full view. That's right here. A second. You know, you guys like to see for yourself and get a comparison. Let me do this real quick. Get my Z Fold real quick. Much wider. Now this right here, don't forget, and I still got the case on this, so that's just the case. But you can see it's much wider. Okay, let's go ahead and go to the next phase. Go ahead and weigh it. Let's see how much this weighs. So I got my trusty scale right here, set up in grams. Right there. I don't want to scratch anything. 216, 217. That's definitely lighter. Definitely lighter. I think my Z Fold 6 is like 230. Yeah, 239. So grams. Let's check that out compared to that. So this is much lighter. I won't do anything like that one. $297. You gotta take into account for the case. So much lighter. Much lighter. Let's see something here. This is my old S23. Yes, 242. So this is definitely lighter. Definitely lighter. Put that right there. Man, that's nice. That is nice. Now I do have, I did buy the tempered glass screen for the front, and I have I bought a case for it. So I'll be putting those on later. This is definitely lighter. Definitely lighter. Definitely thinner. So that's worth it. That's the only thing that's left now to go ahead and I gotta do a power up. I gotta switch my SIM card over. Do a power up. Let it transfer. And do all that. But as far as bouncing the first impression goes, this is worth it. I ordered this straight from Samsung right on the day of the launch. After I saw everything, I was in. I would highly advise if anybody's going to. I don't think they still have the deals going on they had going on with the promo they were doing for the pricing that they were giving. They gave me 1,000. They give you 1,000 off, 1,000 for your trade-in for your Z Fold 6. And then because I got the 1 terabyte, they gave me $150 off of that. And then I got I think it was 63 for my military discount, veteran discount. So I think I got like $1,206 in discounts, which only means that I ended up paying like think it's like 1,200, but it's well worth it. So that if you're going to do, and I don't know if they still, I think that Friday was the last day before when these launched that they had those promotions. They still might be having them. If you're considering, I would do now before then, because if you're not trading, especially if you have a Z Fold 6, if you're asking, would you go ahead and trade it in? I would, just based upon the hardware specs of what I'm seeing right here. Let me open this up. So there's the cutout. But look at that. Minimum crease. Very small. But I would, just based upon just how thin this is compared to the Z Fold 6, you notice the difference immediately just by looking at it. So I would go ahead and do the upgrade, especially if you have the Z Fold 6. They're giving you the best. Nobody's giving. Samsung does have. I have to say that before I said it. Samsung does a lot of times have the best trade-in deals, because nobody's giving $1,000 for last year's version of a phone, except Samsung. So yeah, I would do it. Just looking at this now, I still have to install my SIM card, but just on first impressions, this right here is definitely worth the upgrade. I would. This is definitely worth the upgrade. Like I said, they give you, if you have a Z Fold 6, you're going to get the. I've even checked, and if you have I think it's like, if you have a Z Fold 5 or even a 4, they're still giving you like $900 to $800 for, respectively, for each one. So you're still getting way more than you would get either just by just trying to trade them off anybody else or trying to sell them for what they're worth. So this is definitely the time to go ahead and upgrade. Now, there's some things I'm probably going to talk about later, but once I power everything up and go through the OS and everything else, of course, the biggest thing that came out with this is that they got rid of the S Pen, no S Pen support, but that's okay. I don't use the S Pen on my Fold because I like the S Pen. I'm a previous Note user, so for me it would have to be something that I can, once they get the S Pen design, if they do, to put it inside the phone, then I would consider that to be a deal breaker. But no S Pen support right now with this. I didn't use the S Pen really with my Fold, so it's no big thing to me. The biggest thing that I'm liking, that I'm seeing, is that the weight and the thinness is definitely a winner. You won't feel like you have a heavy brick in your pocket anymore. This looks extremely thin, extremely. This is nice. Like I said, if you are considering it, if you're on the fence, I would highly recommend going to getting it. Especially right now, while I think Samsung's still doing the 1,000 off for trade-in. If you have a Z Fold 6, I would definitely go ahead and consider the upgrade. Maybe you have to think about it. Because I got the 1 terabyte version, I think those were 2,200. So that's why I ended up still paying around almost $1,000. But if you get like the 512 versions, which you'll probably pay something like 900. So, some 900, 1,000, something like that, maybe even less, depending on how many more discounts you get. So it's definitely worth it. Especially if you're, I don't, like I said, I buy mine every 2 years, so I'm not, this is the first time I've been doing it a year to year, back to back, but like I said, that was under special circumstances. I will be holding on to this till the Z Fold 9 comes out. That's the plan. But my thing is that this was the year of the ultimate hardware upgrade for the Z Folds. To me, the upgrade for hardware was what was essential. That was lacking with this, because to have, let me put this there. I want to do that right there. To have this, compared to this, it was much thinner. This is definitely not the same way. So it definitely was worth it for the upgrade. Sorry about the light glare in the back. This is nice. Okay, this is the jet black version, 1 terabyte. Look at that. Look how thin that is. Look at that USB port. Look at this. Look how thin that is. I'll do some more comparison to my Z Fold 6 once I get everything transferred over to this, and then we can do some more walkarounds. I'll get the case off my Z Fold 6 when I feel more I'm ready to go ahead and make the switch over, and then we'll go in more in depth and look at some other differences. But right now, the hardware difference is what has got me. This hardware difference this is beautiful. But overall, I'm very happy with the change with the upgrade from 6 to the 7. I will be doing, like I said, some further videos, comparison videos. But right now, this is really, the hardware is just really getting me. It's really nice. I can't wait to go ahead and switch out the cards and see what the OS has got to say. But stay tuned. This is, like I said, this is just a quick unboxing and first impressions video. Stay tuned for more. I still do the OS video, and also I will be doing a installation video for the cover screen and the case. That's all I have for now. Talk to you guys later. Have a good day.